Hello and welcome to the Hospitality Hot Dish, fresh from the oven. I am Kate Conroy, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships here at Hospitality Minnesota, which is a member driven organization dedicated to educating, supporting, and advocating for Minnesota's hospitality industry. What you can expect from the Hot Dish are conversations with restaurants, hotels, resorts, campgrounds, and the allied members who support those businesses in the state of Minnesota. We release a new episode every other Thursday, so be on the lookout for those. If you're listening to this in early January of 2024, we launched with 3 episodes in the can. So if you like what you're hearing, you can listen to the next couple as well. Speaking of which, you can find the Hot Dish just about anywhere you can download a podcast. We even put them up on YouTube as well. So check us out. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review so that the algorithm gets us in front of other awesome people just like you. Special shout out to today's sponsor, D'Amico Catering. Over the past 25 years, D'Amico Catering has earned and maintained a reputation as the region's premier caterer. They've orchestrated more than 70,000 events, and year after year, they have been the caterer of choice for the most significant cultural, corporate, and philanthropic events in Minneapolis and St. Paul. With me today is Wes Otto of Otto Media Group. Wes, say hi and let the audience hear your voice.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here. And I love the name of this podcast. I mean, that is
Oh,
creative and spot on for the industry, huh?
thank you so much. I really wish I could take credit for the name, but I absolutely cannot.
Well, it's a home run. I like it.
I'm so glad you feel that way. So we're just gonna jump right in. Wes, in terms of hospitality, what is your why?
Oof. Well, my why gets a little lengthy because I'm literally here because of hospitality.
I
My
know.
Yeah, you and I had a wonderful conversation just last week, and we are talking through some of this. But I'm super fortunate because my parents met at the very same restaurant that I'm involved with today, back in it would have been the 70s. So in the 1970s, they met. They eventually got married and bought that same exact restaurant and managed it for over 35 years. And along the way, somewhere in the middle, they had me. So I quite literally wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that business. And
Amazing.
just like so many other people in our industry, I'm sure that my reason is not that different. It's the people. I do love the food, as you can probably tell, but I do really love the people. I have so many different regulars that come into our restaurant that I know on a first name basis that I actually know them just as much by their first name as I do their regular order because they've been for decades. And they're friends and they're almost extensions of our family. And if it wasn't for them, the job just wouldn't be the same.
That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. What a great story.
Hey.
Um, do you want to share the name of the restaurant?
Yeah, so my family owns Zan's Mexican restaurant. Actually, my parents sold it to myself and my sister about a year and a half ago. And for other people in Minnesota that might know the original franchise, it used to be called Zantigos.
Ooh.
And Zantigos, there's still a few of them actually floating around in the cities, in the metro area, but it used to have 100 restaurants across the Midwest and was bought out by Taco Bell because we were doing better than them in the Midwest area. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great story. In addition to the family restaurant, you also have your own thriving media company. You want to talk about that a little bit?
yeah, so in 2016, just due to some different things and changes in my life, I realized that I had a knack for marketing and had a friend that also had a passion for the industry. And so launched a creative agency, focused mostly on social media at the time, but over the last 7 years now have grown it to be kind of a full scope creative ad agency based here out of Mankato, Minnesota. It's called OMG, which given my last name being Otto, it's Otto Media Group. And we have a lot of fun. We tell just a ton of stories. We're very geographic focused, so we've got a lot of businesses in the southern Minnesota area that we service, and um, it's just an extension of again me really appreciating the people in our community.
That's fantastic. Those are the best kinds of marketing is storytelling, right?
Yeah, that's entirely how we based our businesses. Is there's just so many cool stories. You wouldn't think Minnesota or Midwestern, people always think meat and potatoes, right? Which aren't damn good, but there's so many interesting people that have done really amazing things, even here in southern Minnesota. And the more and more people I meet, the more I'm amazed. So just happy to tell those stories, whether it's through the agency or we've also got a podcast. And so I'm not too unfamiliar from being in front of a microphone or in front of a video camera, but we do the same storytelling that way as well. It's called Get Deep for anyone that's a podcast addict that wants to go listen, go look for the Get Deep podcast, and we tell those stories right there too. So
That's fantastic. I cannot wait to become a listener. Love that.
thank
All
you.
right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to ask a couple more questions. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. We now are going to have one of the hardest hitting questions. What is your favorite Minnesota escape, Wes?
Oof, there's so many.
I know. It's why it's so hard.
Yeah, well, I have the privilege of serving on the Hospitality Minnesota Board of Directors, and
Yep.
just this last spring, we were up in the Duluth area, and I'm
Mhm.
sure that this is probably a common one for other people that have answered this question, but Duluth is just such a beautiful landscape, and I'm attracted to water. Anytime that I'm leaving the state, I always tend to go towards the coasts, and so if I'm still in the state and want to have a good time, I usually try and find myself next to a body of water, just like Duluth, and it feels meditative to be able to enjoy a good, meal, a good drink, or a good conversation with family or friends right next to the water.
Could not agree with you more. I love the ocean. I love our lakes. I love our rivers. I love ponds. I love water as well. It's just peaceful, isn't it? There's
Hey,
something peaceful about being near water. I don't know
yeah,
why.
it's just in us. I think it's a genetic or a DNA type thing, you know?
I think that's right. I think you're right. All right. Last question, Wes. What keeps you up at night?
Well, I don't, it seems like this has been a fun podcast, and then we're gonna take.
We're going to end on a downer. No,
Yeah,
we don't have to.
well, I love, obviously, with the agency, with the restaurant, I'm very community oriented. And so I grew up just absolutely passionate about my Mankato community and Minnesota in general. I've always been really proud of being a Minnesotan, but it's tough sometimes to do business in a state like Minnesota. So what keeps me up at night is what are those legislators up to, and what's the new thing that we're going to have to face in any industry? It's not exclusive to restaurants, but it
Yeah.
just feels like there's more and more hurdles put in front of business owners. And as someone who's passionate about both community and business, that is definitely, the top of my list of things that make me sweat a little, keep me up at night, however you want to put it. So,
I hear that. One of the things that we do really well, as you know, is we're at the State House all the time. Our government relations specialist, Jill Sims, is fantastic. She does a really good job advocating on behalf of our industry, but also there are some pieces of legislation that affect all businesses as a whole. One of the most recent was the Earn Sick and Safe Time. And we were just in Mankato for a really good conversation with one of our senators. And the statistics that we learned were really interesting. For example, there is only one business owner in the Senate, one, one guy. Everybody else is either a lawyer or they come from a community advocacy background. And so it really puts things into perspective, I guess is my point. When you think about how many people making decisions and legislating on issues that businesses are going to have to deal with by people who have never been in charge of payroll, they've never had to file quarterly taxes, they've never and so I like to believe that there's no malice. They think they're doing really good things. They think they're doing right by a lot of people. But they need somebody like Jill reminding them that their actions have sometimes unintended consequences, I guess is the best way of saying it.
no, you're spot on. And I think, we can't expect our legislators to always perfectly represent the demographics of the community
Right.
because that's just not always possible. I think in this case, it certainly is more possible. There's a lot of business owners out there, but that would be okay, even if they didn't, if they listened a little more. And I think the challenge is, and this isn't true of all of them, but sometimes you get in a room with someone who holds elected office and you tell them about whatever challenges face business, and they think that you're coming there to complain about
Right.
legislation instead of coming to say, hey, I care about those same issues too, because I care about my people.
Right.
Uh, let's find a common solution. And that doesn't always sink in. Sometimes it's like talking to a brick wall. And so hopefully more and more open their ears and can work collaboratively, because there's opportunities to do really good things while still making it a great place, a hospitable place to do business. And that's what I would love to see more of.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I think we have some pretty robust plans in 2024 to hopefully get in front of more legislators and help them see things from the business owner side for sure. So, one last question. How can people get in touch with you if they need to, if they want to take advantage of your services?
Sure. Well, if they go to ottomediagroup.com, that's OTTO mediagroup.com, they can see not only what the agency has to offer, but they can go to the Meet the Team page, maybe learn a little bit about what we offer as individual contractors or team members, but then also go through that website to reach out to me at any time. Email is Wes, WES, at ottomediagroup.com as well. So.
Fantastic. Okay, that is the show. One last shout out to our sponsor, D'Amico Catering. Over the past 25 years, D'Amico Catering has earned and maintained a reputation as the region's premier caterer. They've orchestrated more than 70,000 events, and year after year, they've been the caterer of choice for the most significant cultural, corporate, and philanthropic events in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Wes Otto of Otto Media Group, thank you so much for joining me today. And to all of you out there listening, we'll see you next time.